Hello, so you're asking me about going from a Nikon D600 camera body to a Nikon D850 camera body, both DSLRs. And so I have my D600, D800, and D850 all here to show you. My D600, I love this camera. I think it gets amazing picture, amazing color, maybe even better than the D800, oddly enough. But the downside, it is the lightest of the three, the D800, D850, and D600, because it's got like plastic incorporated, as you know, and so it's less weather sealed. And so I shot in one real bad torrential rainstorm, the Detroit Jazz Festival years ago, and it killed the back screen. I still use it to this day, just the back screen doesn't work, which stinks because I have to guess what I'm shooting. So I take like a reference exposure on a different camera and then hope that it works on this one. And then I can't really see my composition because what I see through the viewfinder is not exactly what the video shoots. So the 600, the D800, this is weather sealed. I shot in many rainstorms, many snowstorms where this camera died. I just threw it in a thing of rice and it was working the next day or next couple of days until I dropped it, fell in its corner, smashed it. And so it sometimes kind of works if I use like the external video out, but very wonderful camera and definitely a step up from the 600. I bring that up to say even better than the 800, since I own all three, 600, 800. This is the D850 by Nikon. I love this screen back here so I can get, I'm tall, so I don't have to get down too low. I can just look down almost like my Mamiya C330 here, where you look down through the viewfinder that way. It is weather sealed. I don't think there's any plastic on this, or not any more than was on the D800. It's a nicer camera in every way, 45.4 megapixels compared to the 36.6 on the D800 compared to the 24 on the D600. So it'll be a noticeable step up on the picture resolution, absolutely. And the video from it, if you're going from 1080-30 to 4K-30, big step up, except motion is terrible in my opinion. Like handheld motion, like moving like this on the Nikon, it looks really blurry compared to, for some reason, shooting on the 800 or the 600. I don't know if that's like a function of the 4K resolution, being more realistic, and so it kind of like is jolting, but I do notice that. This occupies about maybe, I would estimate like a gigabyte a minute when shooting in 4K, so get ready to have a lot more storage. Like on photo or video, the file sizes are going to be a lot bigger, so that's something to consider when using this camera. I like a DSLR because it's connected with real life. I'm looking through the viewfinder, the pentaprism, as opposed to a screen on a mirrorless, and I feel like there might be like a latency issue with mirrorless. It's not real to me, and I've got big hands, and it just feels more ergonomical for a person like me. And also, I'm walking the streets of Detroit. If some ne'er-do-well, and sorry, they're far too many, comes and tries to attack me all of a sudden, I'm holding this as opposed to a mirrorless, I'd stand a better chance defending myself against someone attacking me. With this, I think a mirrorless would kind of like fall apart. It'd serve no purpose, no good purpose in that time. Oh, and then another advantage, the Nikon DSLRs have special contacts on them that communicate with these vintage lenses. I shoot mostly vintage, basically all vintage. I don't use any autofocus. The new mirrorless, at the time at least, cameras by Nikon don't have the special contacts to read certain details on the older Nikon lenses. And now the downsides of the D850, I had to switch my memory cards. I used to be able to get cheap 128 gigabyte SD cards that cost like under $20 at the local store, and that worked for video and photo on my 600, my 800. On the D850, it would just stop functioning. It would overclock the card, and so I had to spend a couple $100 at a big box store, get a Sony 120 gig XQD card, because this has a SD and XQD. If you get an SD, get like a high read write rate one. And same thing with XQD, or I think they only start off as very proficient in that. Then I also invested a couple $100 in a nice card reader from the same big box store, which was wonderful because it actually transfers, even though the file sizes are much larger, it transfers the files a lot faster with the nicer card reader. Oh, and then the battery life is about the same between the 850, the 800, and the 600. So if you're considering getting a Nikon D850, going from the D600, I would say absolutely do it. It's more than 5 years old at this time on the user market, the D850 compared to the D600. Very similar size camera. In fact, the same batteries would work. Just the D600 batteries would not last as long as the D850 batteries do. The ENEL15A or C, or there's some sort of letter after it. And yeah, I would highly recommend getting a D850. It's an excellent camera. I hope that answered your question, even though it was quite a long answer, but I wanted to be thorough. So yes, take care. Au revoir.